All right, guys. Let's see if I can hear myself. We had some technical difficulties with Zoom. Let's see if you guys can hear me. 1 second. If you guys can hear me, please let me know. Let's see. All right, yes, we can. I can be heard. All right, so today is Monday, guys. Today is technically day 8 of the Liftoff Challenge. We are going to be talking about branding today, okay? So, like I've mentioned before multiple times, the first week of the challenge was all about mindset training, okay? We wanted you guys to get a basic understanding of what the mental aspect of business is, okay? We wanted you guys to dive into who you guys were, who you guys are. We discuss our purpose. We discuss our who. We discuss how to tell our story. We discussed the purchasing triggers which are instilled in us. So we discussed how to avoid burnout. So last week was a really great week. If you guys are behind, just catch up. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into today's training, okay? This week is going to be the marketing aspect. This is the meat and potatoes of the challenge. This is where we're going to be showing you guys, giving you guys a basic foundational knowledge of what you need to start growing your business on Facebook. So let me go ahead and pull up my, I'm not going to be showing you guys my PowerPoint. I mean, I really don't have that many, but I don't like PowerPoints, guys. I feel like it's kind of distracting. It's kind of hard to balance between both. So just what I recommend is watch this with a pen and a paper, okay, and just write down what I'm saying. And if you guys have any questions at the end, we can answer some questions. So let's talk about social media branding, guys. Did you guys know, okay, did you know that it takes 5 to 7 impressions for people to remember a brand? That means, so for those of you guys, hey, Joseph. So for those of you guys don't know what an impression means simply that your logo, your brand, your business, they just saw it. Like as they were scrolling, it crossed their eyes, okay? So it takes 5 to 7 impressions for people to remember. So later on this week, we're going to be talking about social media content and content strategy and why it's important to post constantly, because it's going to take at least 5 times before they even like stop and say like, hey, what is this? Or like the fact like to even get on their radar. So 5 to 7 times for a consumer to remember a brand, okay? So what is a brand? A brand is a concept for a company, product, or service that is publicly distinguished from other products, services, and concepts. I'm going to repeat that definition one more time for those of you guys who are going to want to take notes. A brand is a concept for a company, product, or service that is publicly distinguished from other products, services, and concepts. So in layman's terms, your brand is what differentiates you from your competition. Your brand is what makes someone decide to do business with you compared to someone else. Your brand is everything. Growing up, I was taught that your image is everything. Like once you screw up your image, it's almost impossible to fix it. It's almost impossible to regain it. Well, that's 100% true about your brand. And that's why with the stock market, 99% of movement in the stock market is based off of brand news. If a company made a mistake and looks bad to the public, their stock price drops because people start selling because they're afraid that the tainted image is going to affect the value of their brand. If a company does something good, then the price of their stocks goes up because people associate the value of the stock with how the public views that stock. So brand is everything. Brand, and that's why it's the first topic of marketing week, because if you don't have a good brand image, you don't have anything. Okay, so that's what brand is. Now, before you guys begin to develop your brand, there's a couple steps that you must do before you full out start marketing your brand. The Vision Twins, we haven't started full out marketing our brand, okay? Where we decided to go in teacher mode first. We really haven't done much posting because we're not focused on building the brand right now. We wanted to focus on this challenge and get everything running. But before you start to develop your brand, the number one thing you have to do is conduct research. Okay. Brand it's how you connect to your consumers. Brand is how you connect to your customers. So you want to know who your customers are. Do some research. Find out what their pain points are. Last week we talked about the emotional triggers and the 8 desires, the Life Force 8, the 8 desires that every human wants. Find out if your target audience are a family man. Find out if they have family. Find out what kind of jobs. Find out what kind of jobs they work in. Find out what kind of movies they like. Find out where they like to eat. Find out what their hobbies are. Find out if they're sports fans. Find out if they're artists. Like, do your research on your audience or do the research on the market. Who else is trying to do? Who else is currently doing, or who else is trying to attempt to do what you're doing? What are their pitfalls? You know, do the research on what you want your business to be in the eyes of the consumer. Number 2, consider buyer personas. Tomorrow, we're actually going to be going over buyer personas. But just to give you guys a little quick definition of a buyer persona, and this is why target audience is important. A buyer persona is essentially you coming up with as many characteristics as you can that describes your ideal customer. What drives them? What motivates them? What unmotivates them? What causes them pain? What causes them joy? Where are they in their point of life? Are they nearing a midlife crisis, or are they just starting life? Are they empty nesters? Are they close to graduating? Are they driven? Like I said, what are their hobbies? We're gonna go in really deep into like how deep you should be getting into describing. And once you like kind of paint this picture of who your customer is, you give it a name. Literally, you give a name to your ideal customer. So let's just say, you're a graphic designer. So you come up with you come up with all your characteristics and everything that describes your perfect ideal customer, and you name him Tim. Tim represents everything on that list that you want your ideal customer to have. So when you're running campaigns to try to grow your audience, if their name is not Tim, they should not be seeing your ad unless Tim's friends are sharing it to non-Tims. But your goal, if that's your ideal customer, like that is your dream customer, like if you can get in front of a Tim, you're going to get a sale, because Tim wants, for a fact, because you did the research, that Tim wants Kenji. So for a fact that you meet Kenji and you tell Kenji what you have, Kenji's going to get hype. He's going to pull out his credit card so quick. So your goal is, I want my brand to only call the attention of Kenji. If Kenji wants to tell his friends, cool. If there's going to be a domino effect. But when it comes to the branding, you want to introduce yourself to Kenji. Now, you can't have more than one buyer persona to attach to multiple campaigns, because there's a lot of products and services that have different niches. So Kenji is going to be, that's your buyer persona for that one. Hold on, my dogs. Hey! Shh. Sorry, I have my 2 dogs. Kenji is your buyer persona for that campaign. But if you, like, say you want to have a different or a different segment or a different audience, tomorrow we're going to talk about target audience segmentation. if you there's a second kind of customer, like if one is single mothers, but then like there's another part of you that say, hey, you know, I feel like I can market this to young college students, then you need to come up with a whole nother buyer persona for college students and name him or name her. We already did Kenji and we did Tim, so let's do a her. So the second one is going to be Jennifer. So when you run this campaign to college students, unless her name is Jennifer, you don't want to worry about them because that's your buyer persona. Okay. So and this is all stuff that you got to do before you worry about your branding. Mind, your customer changes as your ad campaign does. Exactly. Because that's the cool thing about branding is branding actually helps you niche. Because when you start to brand, you're going to start seeing who responds. And you may have left out with a buyer persona named Tim, but you realize that no one named Tim reacted. But all of a sudden you have a bunch of Sarahs. You're like, whoa, who's this Sarah chick? Or who's this Kyle? Who's this John? And now you got to do research about all these other personas that interacted with your brand and find out what about them made them react to your brand. And now you can adapt your campaign to those new buyer personas. That's the fun part about marketing, guys. Step 3, before you develop your brand, investigate the competition. You know, guys, we do not condone a dog eat dog world, but realistically speaking, we are in a business world. Okay. So we do have competition. And yes, collaborating with other brands is a great way to excel. Partnerships, joint ventures, joint projects. That's a great way to get publicity to your brand, but you're still in competition. So before you develop your brand, find out, like, guys, this is crucial. Listen, like, if there's anything I want you to write down is this, is before you develop your brand, do your competition. Why? Because when you start investigating your competition, you can see what they do right, but you can also see what they do wrong. And when you start seeing what your competition is doing wrong, and you can see what needs are being unresolved, what needs are being unaddressed by your competition, now you can just come in and run an ad campaign to your competition's audience and say, hey, are you having this and this and this problem unresolved? This is what we're going to do to help you. So by investigating the competition, you can get content strategy. By investigating your competition, you can figure out your target audience. By investigating your competition, you can come up with a more expensive problem to solve, because you may have started your business like trying to solve this simple problem that's easy. But then when you start investigating your competition, you see like, yo, they are dropping the ball in $1 trillion industry. Now you're like, yo, forget this basic problem. My competition is leaving money on the table and I'm about to go and scoop it up. So before you begin to develop your brand, investigate the competition. Okay. And last is assess your existing brand. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second. Why do I feel like I just dropped? Did I drop, guys? No, I didn't drop. Okay. Assess your existing brand. So if you haven't started your business yet, then you don't have a brand yet. But I know that there are a lot of business owners watching this training that they already have a brand. So for this and for you guys, essentially, this will then now be becoming a rebranding project for you guys. So if you currently have a brand, now I'm not saying that your brand is wrong. Please understand me. I'm not saying your brand is wrong. I'm saying that you need to assess your brand. If your brand is solid, if you are, what was number one? Nikki, number one. Give me 1 second. Number one was conducting research. So if you currently own a business and you have a brand, assess it. Remember, the goal of branding is to connect an idea to the public. If your audience currently is getting the right message, then you know your brand image is solid, you're good to go. But if you're trying to reach a certain target audience, if you're trying to reach Tim and the only people who are reacting are Johns, then you have two options. You either need to reevaluate your who, or you need to reassess your brand image. If like you're really, hold on. Excuse me. If your heart is really set on Tim, like, yes, you should be able to be adapt because you never know what customers might be headed your way. But if your heart is set on Tim, like you want to work with Tim's and you're like, you want to work with Tim's, but you're only attracting John's, then you do need to reassess your brand. If you're willing to be open, which I highly recommend because those who are open-minded make more money. If you're willing to be open, if like you want to bring, if you want to attract Tim's, but you're attracting John's, then just do this. Now you, without even realizing it, now you have another campaign to run. Reassess your brand on how to, attract him, but still be open to working with John. Okay, so cool. So those are the 4 steps that you need to do before you develop your brand. So now let's talk about a little bit of what brand consists of. So there's a couple elements that are correlated with brand. Element number 1 is your logo. Guys, I cannot stress enough how important it is to have a logo that sends the correct message that you're trying to send. A logo, it's gonna be like the image. Like, you really think about it. Jordan, let's talk about Jordan for a second, because when it comes to the marketing aspect of things, I love talking about Jordan, okay? So Jordan has established a brand so solid and a logo so solid that people determine whether Jordans are fake or real by the logo. Like, that's how obsessed they are with Jordan's logo. He's Michael Jordan. It's the Jumpman logo. But the point is that people have an emotional connection to his logo. Like, people who like sneakerheads, people who are obsessed with sneakers, you better not disrespect Jordan's logo. You don't disrespect the logo. Nike, you don't disrespect Nike. Because those companies have established a brand image so connected to their logo that people like put that logo on a pedestal and just don't mess with my logo. So a couple of things that your logo needs to have. Number 1, your logo should be clear and identifiable. Someone who sees their logo should not have to message you and ask you what your logo is. It should be clear and identifiable. They should be able to see your logo and say, boom, I know exactly what that is. If you guys look at the logo of the Vision Twins Academy, is a picture of the world, and it kind of looks like a digital, like it's half world and half of it turns into like an internet kind of a thing, digital, and it has a graduation cap. So it's Internet Marketing Academy. They see the hat, they think graduation, they automatically know this must be a school or something that's related to a school. 2, your symbol version. So, like I said, the symbol. If you own a car wash business, then I highly recommend you having something that's relatable to a car. That's your symbol. Number 3, your logo should be consistent across channels. I could not stress this enough, you guys. You should not have a logo on Facebook, a different logo on LinkedIn, a different logo on Instagram, and a different logo on Twitter. that will destroy your brand image so quick. Okay, because your branding needs to be consistent on all channels. They must be the same. You know, you can edit the sizes, and you know, some platforms don't support the size. So I see people like, oh, well, the logo I have on Facebook is not compatible with LinkedIn, so I came up with a different logo. No, guys, there's an amazing tool. It's called Canva. Canva is free. So if you have a logo that you really like and that you're using on Facebook, and it's not compatible with the LinkedIn size or Twitter size, all you have to do is upload your logo to Canva, select the platform that you want to use. So you can click LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever platform, and you can just resize the logo based on the platform. Put your logo so it's the same logo, download it and upload it. That way your logo is consistent across all channels. Okay, we want to make sure that the message is clear across the board. Include your logo in your videos. So this is something that not a lot of people do, but and it's not in your face. It's not something that's like, oh my gosh, it's out, like it's all up in your face, but it's important because we discussed earlier that it takes 5 to 7 impressions before consumer remembers your brand. So check this out. When you're creating videos, when you're creating your videos, if to put on your websites or to put on your Facebook page, and put the video, put your logo in your video, or go on Fiverr and find someone to do it, or find someone that can do it for you who's tech savvy. But when you look at all the biggest online entrepreneurs, and this is majority mostly for YouTube, but if you upload a video on YouTube, you can share it across your platforms and they'll see it. But the point is, when you have a YouTube video that you're going to upload to act as a hook, having your logo on the bottom right-hand corner of your video, where every single video someone watches of you, they see your logo. So once again, they're seeing that logo, more impressions, more impressions. The more times they see your logo, the more it gets engraved in your head. So use your logos in your videos, okay? And lastly, make sure that your logo is visible on multiple channels and devices. This is something that also goes together with Facebook cover photos and stuff. So a lot of people, they get really comfortable with desktop, because a lot of times we're creating a website, a lot of times we're creating really cool graphics and stuff, and we love the way it looks on desktop. And it's just kind of like the psychology of it. Like, a desktop is a bigger screen. So it's a bigger screen. You just love the way it looks and you get really excited and you publish it, but you don't even realize when someone goes to see your Facebook or your any social media platform or your website on their mobile device, you can't even see the logo. Half the picture's cut off. That looks really bad. Just the same way the logo needs to be across all the channels. Any post, sorry, my dogs. Any post that you have or anything that's branded, anything that you're using for branding should be visible on mobile and desktop. So this is one thing that you can do where like a Facebook cover photo on a desktop may be cut off on a mobile device. So what you can do with that is you don't even have to change it. All you have to do is, like I said, go to Canva and see if you can crop it, make the picture a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger depending on the platform, and see if you can just maybe, like, if anything, because I know a lot of people get really excited with cover photos, right? And they have the logo, they have the name, but then have a really cool background image and it really screams out their brand image. But then on mobile, you can't see the full cover photo, it's cut off. So when it comes to mobile devices, sometimes you have to be willing to sacrifice a little bit of real estate and zoom in. If anything on mobile, zoom in on the logo. Don't worry about the background image. Don't worry about any of the graphics that you really love. I know you like it and I know it looks cool, but you want them to see your logo. So if anything, sacrifice the extra real estate and zoom in on the logo and make sure that it's compatible across all your channels. Okay, we want consistency, consistency, consistency. Okay, so part of your assignment today is going to be to make sure you go on your Facebook page. If you have Instagram, go on your Instagram. If you have Twitter, go on Twitter and do an analysis across all your platforms and make sure that everything is the same across the board. Guys, and like I said, this is so crucial. This is so crucial because you're going to see later like why, but it's just you want cleanliness. There's just some, there's not, like, to me personally, that's the biggest business turnoff is when I see a business who I look at their social media profiles and it looks like they can care less about their image. Like nothing matches. It's a turnoff. I don't want to do business with them. I don't want to buy anything from them because it's not clean. Nothing adds up. So just do an analysis today, guys. Look across all your social media platforms and make sure that everything matches up. Okay. So let's talk about the second element here. And this is a very interesting topic: color choices. Now, I know a lot of you guys understand the concept of this, that it's, you can't, when you're coming with your brand, you can't just pick colors. A lot of people, oh, I'm just going to pick my favorite color. Blue is my favorite color. So everything I'm going to do is blue. My logo is going to be blue. My branding, my notepads that I have branded, like my branding memorabilia, whatever that word is. Yeah, no, I can't even say that right now. But the point is, you just pick blue because blue is my favorite color and everything's blue. But what people don't know is that colors trigger different emotions, okay? Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Ugh. All right, guys, so let's talk about colors. So the first color, this is funny because I have Fiverr, they help me with my logo. Yes, Lisa, you can have a second one. Like I said, just the same way there's different campaigns. You can have a version of your original. You don't want something completely different, but you can have like a little bit of a different version for specific campaigns. So I know this is funny, guys. We're talking about colors. So the first color we're going to talk about is the color blue. Okay. The color blue, guys, write this down. Yeah, scolding the dog kids there. I hear them chewing stuff, and if they chew something, my wife will have my head on a platter. So blue instills and represents the psychology behind it. Blue represents integrity. It represents trust. It represents tranquility, loyalty, and intelligence. Guys, there's a reason why Vision Twins Academy logo is light blue. It's a mixture of light blue and green. Because when people see Vision Twins Academy and they see that soft blue, we want them to think they can trust us. We want we want to instill loyalty. Like, wow, we're going to be loyal to the twins. We want them to think intelligence. Wow, Vision Twins Academy, intelligence, academy. If I join the academy, I'm going to be intelligent. The twins are intelligent, so we're going to be loyal to them. That's the power of literally just picking the correct color. Okay, green represents money, growth, freshness, environment, and environmental friendliness. These are just some of them, but like I said, we picked the light blue, green. Why? Integrity, trust, loyalty. But then we also want them to see our color schemes and think, wow, I can make money with these guys. I can grow with these guys, and this is something fresh. This is something new. Okay, yellow instills, brings out the emotions or the idea of happiness, originality, and energy. Okay, so far for those of you guys who are writing, blue is integrity, trust, loyalty, and intelligence. Green, money, growth, freshness, environmentally friendliness. Yellow, happiness, originality, and energy. The color purple. Purple is royalty. Purple is spirituality. Purple is luxury. Guys, Crown Royal is a liquor brand, and their bottles come in a velvet, luxurious material that's kind of like a very dark purple with gold letters. Hey, why do you think they picked purple? Luxury, royalty. And then they put the name Crown Royal, and then they picked purple because it represents royalty, spirituality, and luxury. Okay, so the next color is pink. Guys, for my female business owners, a lot of you guys like to use pink. Pink is a great color for you guys because the number one thing it represents is femininity. It represents compassion and playfulness. Now, and this, this is not necessarily a gender thing, but I'm simply addressing this fact because I see a lot of female business owners use pink just for the sake of, I'm using pink because I'm a girl. If you are a female business owner, and like in Nikki's case, Nikki, you're trading Forex, your business is Forex, just because you're a woman, I would not use pink at all. Anyway, I would not touch pink with a stick. Why? Because you're trying to convince people that they can make money with you. So I would use a green because it's money, it's growth. Yellow, originality. This is an original idea. This is something that's red, power, passion. But pink for Forex trading, absolutely not. Like, I wouldn't touch pink with a stick because if you're trying to get someone to be a hustler and you want them to be like, yo, let's get on a hustle mode, let's grind, let's trade on the market, and you have a pink logo, they're going to think about compassion and femininity and not money. So, like I said, that's kind of some of the traps that you got to think about and make sure that you avoid it. You don't like pink, that's funny. All right, so red obviously is the color of power, is the color of strength, is a color of passion. That's why red is represented a lot. When you think of red, you think of love. For me personally, when you think of red, you think of salsa dancing, like the flamenco dance, the red heels. Women who have red heels are known to be like powerful women. Like, dang, like she's bad. Like she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's got. Like red it's authority. Red is like, don't mess with me. I have the power. Orange is a symbolism of courage, originality, and success. White, cleanliness, purity, and freshness. And black, you have elegance, drama, and strength. Okay, so after the video is done, I am gonna post this specific portion of it, like the color portion, just so you guys can have access to it. So when you start working on your logos and start kind of preparing your brand today, you can have that as a reference point. So I'll make sure that's in the unit. You want to consider your color usage. So when you're deciding what color you want to use or what colors you want to use for your brand, you have to think about what emotions are your brand colors associated with. Do those emotions align with your brand and industry, which is what I was telling Nikki. Pink doesn't match the Forex industry. So does it match with your industry? And do your colors complement each other? Guys, this is serious. Let me slow down for this one. Okay. So if you have the color red, no, let me think of a cool mix. Okay, so let's say you have femininity, compassion, playfulness. You're soft, you're you're compassionate, you know, you're just very mellow, you're down to earth, you're a nurturer. But then with your pink, you have red, that's power and strength, and in your face, those two colors are sending conflicting messages. They're sending conflicting messages. You want to make sure that when you're picking your colors, you're not picking colors that contradict each other or go against each other. Just the same way I mentioned that logos need to be consistent across all channels, the colors that you choose need to be consistent with each other if you're going to use more than one color. You can use more than one color to really nail down that emotion, but if you're going to choose more than one color, you have to make sure that the colors are not contradicting. Also, do your colors stand out against your competitors? If your competitor has a really bright red logo and is really cool and your logo is just, if your competitor, and this is why it's important to do your research. This is why it's important to do research on your competition before you develop your brand. And guys, this is one of the hardest topics that some of our past clients have had to accept, like something hard to accept. But let's be real here. We're in this to we want to grow our business. We want to make money. That's the goal. Okay. So if your competition is coming out blasting powerful logos, powerful colors in your face, and you see that they have a large market share, if you're even going to think about considering and making a dent in that market share, then your brand needs to somewhat reflect at least a little portion of your competition. Why? If one thing would be, you know, if your competition, like if the market share is even, like if you're in an industry where there's a bunch of companies that like the pieces of the pie are kind of equal, then you have a little bit more leeway of getting creative with your brand image, because at this point it's fair game. Everybody's kind of like, it's going to take one unique idea, like one good creative brand to break free and kind of start taking over the pie. But if you're in an industry where, you know, you have maybe just like 2 or 3 giants in your industry and they have 80% market share, you either have to be super, super creative with your brand, like really hit it out of the park, or at least try to have a piece of their image with yours, because at the end of the day, you want to call the attention of their customers. So something like just enough just to get the attention of the audience. Okay. So a couple examples of red logos, guys, is think about Coca-Cola, think about YouTube, think about Netflix. These are all logos that, as a matter of fact, let me show you guys. Well, you guys know the logos. Like they picked red because they wanted to be in their face. Like Coca-Cola, when you see that red label, 99% of the time you automatically are going to associate Coca-Cola, period. And this is why, and check this out. Just to prove my point about having your logo somewhat resemble your competitions. So everybody knows that there's like off-brand Coke. There's off-brand like the Sam's Cola, the Publix Cola, Walmart Cola, like all these different brands. But if you notice, the off-brand colas, they don't have the same logo, but they're still red. Off-brand Sprite doesn't have the same logo, but they're still green. Off-brand Fantas don't have the same logo, but they have the same colors. Why? Because they understand that even they can't use the Coca-Cola logo, but if they can resemble the color that Coca-Cola uses, then when people are walking down the aisle and they see a red label and they automatically get a trigger, oh, it's Coca-Cola. But then when the person gets up to the aisle and sees that it's not Coca-Cola, but it resembles Coca-Cola, and you see that it looks like Coca-Cola, then you're probably thinking it probably tastes like Coca-Cola. And then when they see the price that's cheaper, now these off-brand Cokes, like, that's how they get their money. They get their money on the simple fact of, let's make our brand look as much as it can to the original, and then just market it really smart and lower the price. That's what off-brand markets do. Like the off-brand cereals, that's what they do. They use the same color, the same words, the same imagery. They just can't touch the logo unless the imagery is copyrighted. But all the off-brand cereals, off-brand sodas, that's all they do. They create a brand that resembles as closely as it can the original product, which automatically creates that psychological trigger where if I'm walking down the aisle and I see a bag full of rainbow colors and it's cereal, I'm thinking it's Fruity Pebbles. But when I get up to the Fruity Pebbles, it's not Fruity Pebbles, it's Fruity Dino Bites. But the cereal looks the same, the colors are the same, the packaging is the same, and I see it's $2 cheaper. Might as well get this one because it looks exactly like Fruity Pebbles. Literally, it's a difference of one word. Instead of Fruity Pebbles, it's Fruity Dino Bites. So I'll buy it and I'll save some money. That's the power of branding. That's the power of color usage. So, like I said, you know, if you want to be original, but at the same time, if there's a giant in your industry, try to mimic them at least somewhat. Yellow, a good example of yellow, you have McDonald's, you have Reese's, Ferrari, Snapchat. So, you know, obviously, like, there's a lot of giants, and part of your homework too is for you. You guys are going to go out there. Part of your assignment today is going to be for you to do a little bit of research in your niche, in your industry, and see if you can find some logos for people who are in your niche, influencers, people who are famous in your industry, and see what logos they have. And you're going to decipher their logo. You're going to look at their Facebook pages. You're going to decipher, and you're going to see what they're doing to create a brand image. The best way to grow your business is studying your competition. I promise you. The third element in branding is your typography. Guys, this is very important. A lot of people really don't think about this. They just kind of, when they're choosing what fonts to use with their branding, they just pick whichever one looks the coolest, or cursive because it looks fancy. Like, they just pick a random font, or even worse, they leave it on like Times New Roman or Arial. Guys, that is the fastest way to murder your brand. That is the fastest way to murder your brand, guys, is by not choosing. Hold on, I need to get a little bit more light in here. That's the fastest way to destroy your brand, is not being selective with the typography, the fonts that you guys are using for your branding. Okay, so a couple examples. So there's a font called serif font. Let me actually let me screen share this real quick. I want you guys to see this. Share screen. Okay, so this is your serif fonts. These include Times New Roman, Georgia, and Garmin. Hold on, sorry guys, the screen share is acting up on my end at least. The sans serif fonts include the Helvetica, Arial, Verdana, and guys, I'm gonna try to upload these because for some reason on my end it's being glitchy. I'll upload these into the unit so you guys can have it. But script fonts include Lobster, Lucida. So basically, guys, the fancier, it's just kind of common sense kind of a thing. The fancier your font is, it kind of goes with like the whole luxury look. Modern fonts are the ones that are kind of like more bold, a little bit more like linear. That's gonna, for brands who want to promote like a more stylish, more fashion, exclusive, just and like I said, for some reason I thought this PowerPoint I had to set up differently, but and I'm gonna put these things in your in the unit so that way you guys can have it as a reference. But typography is definitely important in what kind of message you're trying to send. So typography, the 4 things you want to know, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna put this in the unit so you guys can have it. What emotional associations are linked to the fonts that you are using? Number 2, do these fonts appeal to your target audience? Actually, give me 1 second. I might, because I thought I had the whole emotions thing. Give me 1 second here. I might actually have it. Let's see here. I do. Yes, I do. Awesome. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me. So for serif fonts, it means authoritative, traditional, and respectable. And I'm gonna upload a list of the different fonts, examples of each font, and then I'll attach this so you guys can have it as a resource when you're doing your research. Sans serif fonts, it gives off it's for more for modern, clean, and stable brands. Slab serif font is for a bold, strong, modern look. Script fonts, which is like the cursive bold script, bold script or script fonts are for elegant, friendly, and creative. So bold script for you, Lisa, is actually a really good script because your niche is pottery. So it's representing creative. So that's perfect for you. And then your modern fonts are fashionable, stylish, and exclusive. So those are some of the emotions that are triggered with the different style of fonts. And I'll upload that once we're done into the unit sections for you guys to download and have. So like I said, what emotional associations are linked to the fonts that you're using? Do these fonts appeal to your target audience? Does this accurately reflect your brand and industry? And does your primary and secondary fonts complement each other? So like I said earlier with the colors, if you're going to use more than one color, you want to make sure they complement each other. The same thing with fonts. Okay? You don't want one font to be talking about modern and exclusive and stylish and trendy, and then a sub font to represent classic, old school. You know, it's contradicting. So everything with branding is consistency. Your logo needs to be consistent across all channels. Your colors need to be consistent and complementing each other. Your typography needs to be consistent and complement each other. Okay, so everything with branding is consistency. So when you look at some of the logos, like I said, Disney has like that script style words when you see Disney, and Disney's all about creativity. Google, the Google is just it's not a fancy lettering at all. It's just bold. Because why? Because it's authoritative. It's modern. That's what Google represents. You know, NASA has like that whole curve. The A's don't have the lines across it. So, you know, like I said, NASA's all about creativity. And guys, font matters. I want to let me show you guys this picture real quick. And just to show you guys why font matters, if you're looking at this picture right now, okay, this picture on the left, when you read it, It says, I will always find you. Because also remember, guys, that text typography, when you're choosing how to portray it in your brand, however you have your script, whatever font you use will also determine how your reader reads it, how they interpret it. Because remember, a font, they're not going to hear your voice. They're just seeing. So on the left, you see, I will always find you. And you see the heart. You see the heart right here above the eye. So it represents love. So when you're reading this, it's like, I will always find you. Like it's a loving tone. But then you look at this one and it looks like you're about to be murdered. This looks like a scene out of a scary movie and the bad guy just murdered someone and used their blood to write on the wall. So font matters. Font matters. Font matters. When you choose your font, it matters. Okay, guys? So, all right. So the next element, and we're going to start landing the plane here because we've been going on for 51 minutes. Okay. The next element is visual. Your visual elements are probably, if not the most important part of branding. What does the visual elements consist of? It consists of photographs, your iconography, interactive elements, video, data visualization, which aka data visualization means like charts and stuff. Your website, social media, email communications. These are all things that people visually see. Okay. So when you're making a post, make sure if you're going to do a post with a picture, make sure the picture pops. Make sure it catches their attention. Make sure it's consistent with your brand message. So does your visuals match your brand and industry? Does your visuals tell a story? Are your images consistent, eye-catching, and impactful? And are they simplistic and can they be recognized on multiple devices? So those are the 4 points that you want to consider when choosing your visuals. Do they match your brand and industry? Do your visuals tell a story? Are your images consistent, eye-catching, and impactful? And are they simplistic and can they be recognized across multiple devices? The last element of branding, guys, is your voice. And this is why in this challenge, we have you guys going live in the groups, because the fastest way to grow your brand is video, because they can see and they can hear. Those are the two most powerful elements of branding, your voice and your imagery. With your voice, you want to make sure that you're in character. What character are you trying to portray? What persona are you trying to portray? What tone of voice are you using? Do you sound angry in all of your videos, or do you sound compassionate, or do you sound hype and excited? What is the message of your brand? The language that you guys use and the purpose. People can tell when you talk with a purpose. When you talk with a purpose, you talk with authority. You talk with oomph. You talk with a mission. I am here to show you guys how you can make a bunch of money by trading Forex. I'm here to show you guys how you can heal using pottery. I'm here to show you guys how much of a difference having a clean and detailed car can make in your life. So you want to talk with purpose. So the 4 things to consider with your voice is, what kind of character attributes does your brand have? What is the underlying vibe that emanates from your brand's communications? What kind of language do you use in your communications? And what is the purpose behind your communication on social media? All right. So why is brand consistency so important for social media? We're going to start ending the play here, guys. What are we at? We're at 54 minutes. Good. So here's a couple reasons why brand consistency is so important for social media. Number 1, by having brand consistency, you become easily recognizable online. It takes 5 to 7 impressions for someone to remember a brand. So you want to make it as easy as possible for them to recognize it, to remember it, and to have it ingrained in their memory. Having brand consistency creates trust. When your colors are consistent, when your typography is consistent, when your logos are the same across all the channels, then people understand that they're dealing with the same company all across the board. But if you have one logo on social media, a different logo on Instagram, your posts on Facebook are inspirational and encouraging, and your posts on Instagram are negative and Debbie Downer, you're creating distrust because they think that they're dealing with two different people. Brand consistency drives brand loyalty. When your brand is easy to follow, it's easy to be it's easy to follow. It's easier to be loyal to. Nike, it's just a check mark. Easy to follow, easy to recognize, and they have one of the most loyal brands, brand followings in the world. Apple, it's just an apple with a bite out of it. Jordan, the Jumpman, simple, to the point, easily recognizable across all platforms, and that's why those brands, like if you look at the biggest companies in the world, their logos are always super simple. Target, 2 circles. Easy to follow, easy to keep across all channels. They have a loyal following. Nike, Jordan, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is literally just a letter, I think it's just a letter L. Simple logos that are easy to follow, easy to maintain across all platforms, increases brand loyalty. By having brand consistency, it's a lot easier to entice new customers, and there's a lot of SEO benefits. When your brand is consistent across the board, it's really easy for customers to follow you from one platform to another. And what does that mean? If my brand is consistent, it's going to be easy for someone to go from Facebook to my YouTube channel, from my YouTube channel to Instagram, from Instagram to my LinkedIn, from my LinkedIn to my blog. When everything is consistent, it's going to be easy to follow, which creates higher search rates. Because, and that's going to be, actually, no, that's not going to be something we're going to be talking in the challenge. It is something, it is a topic that we're going to be discussing in our new academy that we're launching. I'm not going to give you guys an official launch date yet because I don't want to put myself in a situation, but we are launching a digital online academy for you guys to get really in-depth training about these topics. But SEO benefits is if your SEO metadata is the same across the board, then when someone searches for your Facebook, they're going to see your Instagram, your LinkedIn, your Pinterest, your YouTube channel, all in the same search because they're all saying the same thing. What happens when you have a consistent brand presence? Here are some of the results of having consistency with your brands. Number one, you get brand exposure. Now someone has seen your brand. Now you continue the journey. Now you have brand engagement. I've engaged with your brand. Now, because you're maintaining the same imagery, you're maintaining the same message with your brand, now you have soft lead generation. Someone has given you their contact information. And now someone went from contact information to purchasing something from you. And now, since they've purchased something from you, follow through with your customer service, you follow through with their product or service, and you've maintained your brand consistency. Now you have a loyal customer. So you have customer retention and customer advocacy. Now you have customers bringing you new customers. That's what happens when you have brand consistency. You go from no one knowing who you are to having a loyal customer base. That's a loyal customer base that brings you more customers on a daily basis. Here are five common branding challenges. These are the top five challenges that people have with their brand. Number one, your brand fails to make an impact. If your business is designed to make an impact, if we've already discussed that our business needs to make an impact, it needs to serve, your brand needs to make an impact, and that's one of the top things that people struggle with. Number two, being original. I mentioned earlier that if you're in an industry where there's a lot of, it's a very like monopolized industry where there's only a one or two. Yes, you want to have a little bit of what they have in their branding just to at least tap into their following, but that doesn't mean to copycat. There's a lot of people that start a business and the name of the business sounds really close. The branding sounds really close. The logo looks really familiar. Don't be a copycat. Be original. Be creative, which is why week one of this challenge was super important because we discuss purpose, we discuss target audience, and we discuss your why. When you know your target audience, when you're 100% sure of who your who is, it's really easy to be original because you're serving that specific crowd. Okay? Common branding challenge number 3 is engaging prospects. A lot of people have problems engaging prospects with their branding because they don't know how to do it correctly, but you guys are not going to have that problem because you guys are learning from the best. Another thing that people have a problem with their branding is growing reach and shares. And number 5 is impact on mobile. That's a big one. Like I mentioned, don't get caught up so much with the desktop versions or the tablet versions when you're creating your logo, when you're creating your Facebook pages. You want to make sure it's made mobile friendly. Guys, at least 90%. I haven't researched the most recent numbers, but I guarantee you at least 90% of Facebook users are mobile. When I run Facebook ads, I never show desktop, ever. Unless part of my well, not even, ever. Because 90% of people are on their phone. So yes, make sure that your branding it looks good on desktop, but your number one priority should be, how does your brand look consistent across on mobile devices? Mobile is king, okay? So with our branding, we want to be distinct. We want to be memorable. We want to be scalable. We want it to be scalable. We want it to be cohesive. We want our branding to be easily implemented. Okay, when you're coming up with your campaigns, you should not be struggling with how to create an ad campaign based around your branding. Your branding should not be complicated. It shouldn't be hard to implement. If you have a team, everybody on the team should be able to implement that brand strategy. It needs to be simple. It needs to be, this is it. This is what our brand represents. This is what we want to accomplish. This is the message we want to send to our consumers. All right. So that's going to be the end of our training, guys. And I just passed an hour. So I was trying to keep it under an hour. I'm going to upload some of the information regarding the colors, the scripts, and the fonts into the unit section for you guys. Okay. So tonight's homework is, I want you guys to assess your brand. If you have a logo, assess your logo, assess your social media profiles. Make sure they all look the same across the board. I want you guys to find someone in your industry and start doing some competitor analysis. Find someone in your niche and see what colors they use in their logo. See what kind of posts they're posting on social media. See what scripts, what fonts they're using. Check out some of their videos. Just check that out so you can see what they're doing, and you can kind of get the ball rolling on how you want to at least head down that path, but then add your originality. So that's going to be your homework assignment. Just one thing. It's just one thing that you have to go live about. Pick a competitor in your industry or someone who does what you do, and just write down a couple things you notice from their brand, their logo, what colors they choose, what kind of fonts they choose. Go live in Facebook. Say, tell us what you found. And you're welcome, Lisa. And in the live, so the live has to address those two things. One thing about your competition. 2, name one thing that without a doubt you want your brand to represent. Name an emotion, just something that when people see your brand, you want them to see that, you want them to feel it. That's like, what is one thing that your brand must convey? So that's going to be the 2 things you got to do in your live. I announced today our prizes. All right. So our prize giveaway call is going to be on Sunday. So we have three prizes, guys. And the prizes are going to be determined by the amount of times you post in the group that you did all the homework assignments, that all the units are completed, the amount of comments and the amount of interaction you did on other people's posts. Okay. So for the 3rd place, they're going to win a $100 Amazon gift card. 2nd place is going to win a ring light, which is what I'm using right now. Okay. This is a ring light. Lighting is crucial when you're making videos. And a microphone. I'm using this microphone right now. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah, so this microphone allows me to have really good audio quality so you guys can hear me clearly. Super important. And we're going to talk about content. We're going to talk about that a little bit in the content aspect of it. So that's going to be the 2nd place prize. And the grand prize winner is going to be winning lifetime access to the Vision Twins Academy, guys. And they're gonna win it, and they're also gonna win an hour consultation with my team and I. Vision Twins Academy is gonna be an online academy, guys, where we're gonna be launching courses for digital marketing, social media marketing, sales, mindset, and we're going to be setting up the courses with beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert, like basically low, medium, high, extra high. So we're setting up our academy where you guys can go in at the beginner level, complete all the beginner level courses, and then graduate to the next level. And we're creating a journey for you guys that by the time you're done with all the courses, and like you're going to be a professional marketer. Like I said, we love the big picture prizes. I mean, we love the big picture ideas. We love the who and the purpose. But at the end of the day, this is marketing. You guys need to learn marketing to grow your business. You guys need to learn branding. You guys need to learn what fonts to use. You guys need to learn how to what kind of Facebook ads you should use for which purposes. We're going to be the schedules and the announcements. We're going to be tomorrow. I'm going to be teaching on target audience segmentation and buyer personas. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you guys how to name your ideal customer. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And we're going to talk about how to create an offer. We're going to talk about social media content strategy, social media strategy. Guys, we're going to show you guys how to like be active on Facebook. By the time you guys are done, you guys are going to be superheroes. You're going to be rock stars on social media. That's our goal. So tomorrow at 8 o'clock, we will be live again. We're going to be live again, 8 o'clock p.m. I'm going to update the units tab with the assignment requirements and some of the extra components for you guys to have as references. And just start getting curious. Start kind of figuring out your branding. Start kind of getting ideas. And we will see you guys tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And for those of you guys who could not watch live, you can watch the replay and just start catching up the assignments. There's a handful of people that have done a really great job being engaged. And not to sound, I don't mean to say this the wrong way, but it's the truth. We want to work with people who want to work with themselves. So if you're serious about growing your business, we will move mountains for you guys. But if you're just going to be a bystander on the bench, then this is not the community for you. So have a great night, guys. Do the homework assignments, and we will see you guys tomorrow at 8 o'clock. God bless everyone.